Yeah, I think we're always ready. We know it's early in our season, and we know that there's a schedule coming up that's really tough, and so we've been working hard over the last couple of weeks to get everybody integrated as best as we could. Obviously, there's been some challenges along the way with guys making sure that with the visa status and out the country, getting all the approvals and what have you, and then training being disrupted there. But everyone's done a great job of getting everybody here in one piece, and looking forward to the Champions Cup, and excited about the game here in Trinidad.
Joe Tansey?
Hey, Bradley and Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
How are you? Um, what do you know about Defense Force? I assume there's not a ton of video on the Trinidad First Division. What have you learned in scouting them?
Yeah, we've learned a lot. We've watched a lot of games. We've managed to find through a couple of networks and resources that we've had, been able to get some footage. And this is the challenge and the joy of, the Champions Cup. And it's exciting seeing different teams play. But some of the faces are well known. You think about Kevin Molino, MLS legend, and one of the most decorated CONCACAF strikers that we've seen. So, coming up against the experienced, savvy players, there's a couple on that team that stood out. So, they're a very athletic team, a very experienced team. They're defending a deep, block, and that's going to be, our first challenge of the day is to make sure that we can try and break down the block, and we're going to have a lot of the ball, I would assume, and make sure that we have everything buttoned down when they try and transition.
Kyle Albany?
Hey, Bradley, how are you?
Good news, Kyle.
Good, thanks. You spoke about Kevin Molino. What, in your estimation, makes him such an impactful midfielder forward, as you said?
Yeah, a player who always gets the ball in time and space, regardless of age, is always someone to be reckoned with, right? So, and the games we've watched, he's always managed to find space, rotations with his teammates, and picks up the ball between the lines. And, he's got a very delicate pass to find the through balls, whether it's for Bertrand or, Saint Hilary. These are guys that want to receive those types of passes, and they give options off the ball as well. So, they're very athletic, on the last line. So, again, stopping the supply to Molino will be key.
Thank you.
Caleb Pierre?
Yes, good morning, Coach. I wanted to talk about Danley Jean-Jacques. He was one of your best, your most important player last year. And how is he doing with the team over the last few weeks? And do you think he will have the same status on the team this year? Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a big year for Delhi, obviously representing his country in the World Cup. So, the preparations have been key, and his influence in the team has been really key as well over the last 12 months. He's a very aggressive, dynamic holding midfielder who brings a lot of energy and a spark in the attack as well. So, he's a real box-to-box midfielder. And again, the preseason has been a process of getting out the holiday phase out of our legs, and Danley was one of those players, like all the other players, to build up their fitness, to build up their sharpness, and to be ready for a game and a tough schedule coming forward. So we're excited that we have hopefully a couple more players representing the country. Dre also got the qualifiers to do in March, but we hope we can have not just Danley, representing us at the World Cup, and part of this now is a build up for that too. So we're excited about playing a real competitive game in a tough tournament.
Jonathan Vanderholt?
Thanks. Erica. Bradley, you mentioned some of the ins and outs during the preseason, and I guess I should ask you: is Bruno back and integrated? And what are at the moment with Milan and Indy, who I know were banged up in the preseason? How are they?
Yeah, don't forget Nate's also here too, huh?
I asked him earlier; he didn't answer.
Bruno's back. He's back with us. Travel with the group. He's had a couple of days of training. Milan and Indy are back with the team. We've had a couple of. It's preseason, Jonathan. There's always a couple of things here and there, but we've got a good competitive group here, ready to go. And yeah, there's a lot of competition as well. It's edgy, it's feisty in training. Jovan took a bit of a knock to his ribs, and we're still assessing that, and we'll see if that makes sense or not.
So that Nate has a question to answer. It's Carnival in Trinidad this week. I'm sure the scene has been pretty festive outside the hotel, and we'll add to that tomorrow night. What have you sort of seen? Being able to look out the window or from training or whatever, what's it been like?
Yeah, we got in last night. Obviously, it's Carnival. There's a lot of people here. It's loud, noisy. But at the same time, we're focused on the one thing at hand. That's getting a result on Wednesday. There's distractions any city you go to. It's a little bit different here because we never come here usually. So just being able to manage that in the best way possible and just stay focused on the mission at hand is the most important, and we talked about it as a team together. There's temptation. It's really easy to go out and want to be a part of something, but we have one goal, and that's advancing this tournament and it starts with a good result on Wednesday night.
Joe Tansey?
This one's actually for Nate. With the change you guys have had in the back line, what has preseason been like for you, getting used to the new faces there, maybe new roles? I know leadership has been discussed a lot with some of the guys that have been around and stepping up into those roles. What has preseason been like for you with the change in defense?
Yeah, it's been good. It's definitely different from last year, losing Jacob and Kai. But at the same time, we spent these last 5 weeks together to get to know each other even better on and off the field too. There needs to be a chemistry aspect, and we're building that every single day with a lot of communication on the field, off the field. So it's good. We all enjoy it. We're all fighting for one goal at hand, and that's to get the best out of every single one here. So it's been good. It's definitely been a little bit different, but at the same time, we're growing and we're advancing in that.
Kyle?
Nate, you've been in this tournament before, obviously, and you got some new faces and maybe some teammates from last year who've never competed in this competition. Having gone through it in the past, any advice you've given to some of your new teammates or somebody like Frankie who's never played in it?
Sorry, guys. Kyle, could you start your question again?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, sorry about that. Nate, you've played in this competition before. Obviously, some new players like Joe had mentioned on the back line, but also guys like McConaughey and Frankie have never played in this competition. What advice have you given to some of your teammates that, are new to this?
Yeah, I think we talked about a little bit yesterday about this tournament. It's a little bit different from playing in the MLS. There's other challenges you face with the travel. Sometimes referees, but at the same time, you have to embrace it. You have to expect the unexpected. Anything can happen. I remember a few years ago in El Salvador, a dog ran in the field, grabbed the ball. So at the same time, you have to enjoy it because you never know when you'll be back, and you have to respect every opponent in this tournament. Everybody has to qualify to be in it, and we understand that. And there's different stages, so everyone's here for a reason. Anything can happen here. So I think the key message was just embrace the challenge and expect the unexpected.
Thank you.
Caleb?
Yes, question for Nat. And you were in the US team last September. Is playing the World Cup in your bucket list this year?
I think that's for every single player, dreams of playing in a World Cup. But you can only control what you can control. And right now, it's just focusing on being with the team, winning these games that we have at hand here, and it starts Wednesday night down in Trinidad. Of course, being with the U.S. in the World Cup would be amazing. But at the same time, I'm focused on the next thing at hand.